Hello, you, and welcome to takTalks, a place where I, Takaya Honda, get to chat to actors about their lives and what brought them to acting and what work they've done, and hopefully get some interesting stories. Hopefully. I say hopefully because we are live and I don't know what's going to happen, which is super exciting. And you can join in too. Make sure you put your questions in the chat thing, whichever direction that may be. I think it's that side. And yeah, I'll try to get to them during the chat in some way, and if I haven't, we do a quick fire round at the end where I go through and try to find any of those questions which we can answer for you. But thank you for joining us. You haven't joined us to hear me rabble on, as I always say. You are here to see the star of the show, a brilliant young lady who I have to mention has achieved a list of things that people 4 times her age hope to achieve, if not more. In 2016, Globe GL this year, Medal of the Order of Australia recipient. Everyone, please welcome Georgie Stone.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. I'm pretty good, actually. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, today was really nice outside today, which was gets rarer and rarer in Melbourne as the months drift into winter.
It does. It does. I actually haven't been outside today. I've been pretty much in my bedroom all day, which isn't very productive, but that's just how it's been.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk. I'm a big fan of the show, as you know. I watch every time, and it's great. So I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Can't believe it. Especially coming from our first OA member. Are you a member? What would you call it? Recipient.
Oh, no, I don't know. Person.
Person.
A person with a
With well, apart from playing with your medals, what else have you been doing?
I don't have it yet.
What? How long does it
No,
take?
I don't have it. Well, we were supposed to have the ceremony, and then it got cancelled because of the pandemic.
Was it really? I thought you got it or was it just announced earlier in the year?
It was announced earlier in the year, and then we were going to have a little awkward ceremony where they give you a medal and you kind of like curtsy or dab.
Oh, please dab. Please dab when it happens.
Yeah.
So good.
I will. I'll dab to the governor. Thank you. But no, we didn't get to do that. So I'm just hanging around for that medal.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
And then you don't have to do anything ever again. You just sit back and chill and with your medal.
Yeah. I don't just have a medal. I just get to play with.
Yeah. Cool. Well, apart from playing with that non-existent medal yet, imagining playing with the medal, what else have you been doing in isolation to fill your time?
Oh, okay. So I have been pretty impressive. I have been watching a lot of movies.
What's your favorite so far?
I binged all 8 Harry Potter movies.
That's an effort.
Which I was pretty proud of. Yeah. It was a real journey. And I actually, when I was putting some of it up on my Instagram stories, because I thought, why not? Putting up the Harry Potter movies, and I was really surprised at the kind of response that got. So many people were like replying to my stories going, oh my god, I'm doing the exact same thing, and giving me like essays of their opinions on the characters. And this, I put up a little video of Harry and Hermione dancing in the second and last one, and I got this whole kind of barrage of, oh my god, they should have been together, or oh my god, how dare you. The passion is something to behold. A lot of opinions on Harry Potter, which I loved. I loved reading. But yeah, I've so many movies. It's not even funny the amount of movies I've watched. It's some kind of record.
There's nothing wrong with that.
In the last 4 weeks. So, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Yeah, and I've been trying to stay productive and in as many ways as I can and can do safely. I've been I walk my dog every day, or as much
Nice.
as I can. My little dog Lottie.
Aw. It's
Um,
a very cute name.
and yeah, she's a very cute puppy. She's a very cute puppy. And yeah, trying to stay positive. Um, how have you been going? What have you been up to besides this very successful series of tactical
Well, thank you for
talks?
calling it successful, and just pretty much this, like, because Amy's working from home, so she's like taken over the
Mm.
lounge room, so I'm in the spare room, and so I just sort of sit in here, and I'll basically most of the time at the moment's researching how to make this better and how to turn this into a podcast, audio podcast, because people have been asking for that as an option. And outside of that, we've been watching a lot of
Yeah, and
stuff.
it's a very nice room as
Oh,
well.
thank you. With my
It's a very nice room. It's decked out
Ramsey Street
very,
sign and
very beautiful.
my Dementia
Beautiful.
Australia giant foam finger is a lot of fun.
Lovely.
But yeah, watching stuff as well. I've been watching
Ooh, a
Black.
little bit.
I have. Well, I have. Watching Black AF over the last couple of days.
Oh, you're back again.
Oh, so I disappeared for you.
Mhm.
Hopefully, I'm still okay on the YouTube. People can tell me if there's any issues going on through the chat, and I'll try to pretend to like I know what I'm doing and fix something. But yeah, which is really fun. That's a really clever series that Black AF is a really clever series that combines comedy with issues, so nothing feels like it's being thrown in your face too much, but then it makes really good points. So that's been enjoyable. Watching season 2 of Bloom, which is a great Australian show. I'm not sure if it's over in the UK. I hope it is. And yeah, that's really all.
Loom, I've heard that's really good.
Yeah,
I've
it's
heard
in
that's a really
Stan
good show.
here, and no, it's really good. Really, really good example of Australian drama and what people can do, and some great performances as well. Yeah, but same as you, walking the dog, Mia. Mia's been loving a walk. She's been going weird though. It's like she knows that
Yeah.
she's in isolation, even though she pretty much is in isolation every other day. Because when she goes on walks, she always has to be on lead because she must have been attacked when she was little, so she will attack other dogs if she sees one. So we have to keep her on lead. But she's
Oh,
only 3 kilos.
really?
She can't do any damage. It's more that they might turn around and do some damage to her. That's the issue.
It's so cute. My dog's different. We've got a big dog. She's a Labrador, but she thinks she's a really small dog. So she will like barrel up to people, just, spread the love. When she gets up on the couch, she does literally sit on me, right on top of me. But she thinks she's tiny, so she doesn't know any different. I don't think she knows that she's in isolation, but she's very happy that we're home all the time. She's whatever it is, she is living her
See,
best life right now.
Mia will we'll
She's
do like
loving it.
a house party or whatever video chat with people, and I think it freaks her out that we're talking to a screen and then there's other voices coming back, but she doesn't know where they are, and she goes nuts. She's barking, or she'll come up and she does like a cat thing. Cats come up and rub against you. She does that, so she wants you to play with her,
Yeah.
and then she goes.
Oh, cute.
It's like, oh god, that's gonna become a meme now. Me going.
Does she ever notice you and see you on screen? Do
Well,
you, when Neighbours is on, if you
of course.
watch it, does she, of course you watch it, does she ever notice you on screen? Because my dog does. When I'm on there, she's
I
looks
gets
at me,
confused.
looks at the screen, looks back, what the hell is going on? She
I don't.
loves
She
it.
does sit and watch the TV with. She'll look at the TV, and I'm not sure whether she's just looking at this thing that has a whole bunch of things moving on it, or whether she's actually just, oh, this show's good. Um, although a funny
Bright
story of
colours.
looking at the screen and looking at me and then looking at the screen. My niece, my brother's daughter, lives in Queensland with my brother. Which is good. And but she's watched me on Play School a lot because obviously they want her and now my nephew to see me and that kind of thing. But what happened
Yeah.
from that was when I turned up, she's very confused. She's, oh no, no, and then she sort of look at the screen and look back, no, and so we put one of the Play School episodes on, and then she's, oh no. She's like so confused. I'm there and here. And then, but I was in the like
Cute.
upstairs, like bedroom thing, and there's like a window, and they were outside looking up at the window. And then she's like, ah. So like when I was in the box, she was like, that makes sense. I get that. That's where you're supposed to be. But in person, she freaks out. She's the only kid that doesn't like me, which is so sad. Every kid usually likes me, and my own niece is like, no.
Every
It's
kid likes
it's one of
you.
those weird things that
No.
I'll be like in a party with adults, and there'll be a few little kids. I won't do anything, but by the end of the party, they're all wanting to play with me. I don't know why, but it happens. Um,
That's so cute. That's the same. I love
yeah.
kids. And I have a little young niece and nephew, 4, and I love them to death. And they, they don't mind me, but they love my brother, my twin brother Harry. They are obsessed with him. They play with his beard. They always get him to blow the bubbles, but not me. And I find that really sad because I love them so much, and Harry's very indifferent. But they
Maybe
just
that's the
love
thing.
him.
Just be a bit more indifferent about it.
Maybe because I'm trying
They're
too
like,
hard. Maybe it's hard, hard to get. If I don't care, then
yeah,
they'll
but see
come to
now
me.
you'll
There
try
we
not
go.
to care, and then
But they love
they'll
him.
see straight through you. They're like, you're
They'll sense
trying
it.
too hard.
Maybe I just don't have a beard. Maybe they just love people
Now
with
is
beards.
his beard an ISO
They
beard?
just
Is it something that's just happened in isolation, or is it always beard?
no. He is incredible. He was like 14 and
Wow,
he
so he's
started
like a
growing
full
a
day beard
beard.
guy.
He's like yeah. He's got it all going on, but it started turning orange. It glows in the sun now, which is he's pretty proud of it. Um, Look, we're all pretty proud of it. It's quite
Does he have
something
orange anywhere else, or is it
to be
just the
14
beard?
and
That's
just the beard. He's got dark brown hair, really dark, bushy eyebrows and everything, but his
that's a
beard is
really strange
just
thing that happens.
orange.
I've seen it like a few guys, even with like Asian backgrounds or whatever, where just their beard will just have some red go through it. Like, why? Someone.
Look, I don't know. I think it's just how it's supposed to be. I think it's just something about the sun hitting the beard
Just
just right, and
glows.
it glows.
Is Harry
It's
into
beautiful.
acting at all?
He is. He is. In fact, he was always like dubbed the actor of the two of us. In school productions, he'd always get the really good roles, and people were like you were going places. And I was like, what about me? I love acting. And they're like, maybe a lawyer. Maybe my teachers thought I'd become a lawyer when I grew up. And well, that didn't happen.
What happened?
Yeah, I think I surprised everyone by going on Neighbours, but I'm happy about that. But I really want
Yeah.
him to come on the show. I really, really want Harry to come on the show, and I've talked with Jason, our EP, about it, and he's keen as well. So I really hope,
Do you want him on as a relative
hope
of
he can
yours,
come
or
on.
do you want him to be like someone that you can hate, or maybe
Yeah,
you can hate your relative on the show anyway?
I don't know. When I've talked with Harry about what I think his character is, and this isn't anything to do with the beard, but I always imagine him as some kind of drug dealer. I don't know why,
You'd
but
be
I
a good
always
drug
think
dealer.
he's gonna come on and be like, I imagine you as a drug dealer, and he's like, whoa now, a bit judgmental. But for some reason, I always imagine him like sidling up to Mackenzie in the waterhole and going, "Hey,
Do you want some drugs?
this isn't how drug dealers work. Do you want some drugs?"
That's how they approach people. Want some drugs? Want some drugs?
That's how they do it.
Especially in the
And
waterhole, that place. It's
actually,
a rager.
I was, especially in the waterhole. Sheila runs a dodgy place. I was in school and I was sitting on a couch.
Even for no specific reason, you were
And
sitting.
two
Yeah.
people. I was just sitting on a couch, and two people sat on either side of me, and they both started to do this like transaction, this of drugs, and I was sitting in the middle. I don't know why. they were doing it, but I was so confused, and I just sat there and listened in as he handed over like a wad of cash, and handed back
Wait, so you were like the
some
tabletop?
weed.
Like, what was?
I was just in between them, and they sat on either side of me, and I don't know why they thought that was a good idea.
How does that happen to a person? How many
Because
people? How many people have had like two people
I
sit
don't
either side of
know.
them?
How stupid were they? They were in a younger year level than me, but I didn't do anything. I didn't tell anyone.
Well, right
Okay,
now,
so we stopped.
you-
That's why I'm telling everyone listening in today.
you'll have your school
That
calling
that
you. Who was
happened.
that? Who was that?
There
Who was
you go.
the drug dealer?
Yeah, why didn't you tell us about the drug deal?
And you call yourself a.
Yeah, so I was probably.
That's how you had
Probably shouldn't
that. You
listen.
went up to them and said, "Look, I've got all of this stuff on
I
you. You
was, because
gotta
I had
vote
a
for
meeting
me."
with all the students, and they all trusted me. I wouldn't rat them out with all their
Yeah,
drug
trusted
deals.
you by way of force of you
How I
saying, "If
roll
you don't vote for
with,
me, I'm gonna
yeah,
tell everyone."
yeah,
So
I will bust all of your drug deals there, and then I ascended to the top with corruption and
yeah,
bribery.
good. Yeah.
There we go.
Well, there's plenty of different ways to get places, so why not like that? How did we get? Oh, we was talking about Harry's acting career as a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Very good. So he's going to come on as a drug dealer, I guess. The spoiler alert.
I really want that to happen. If you see some guy with brown hair and an orange beard as a drug dealer, you know that's my twin
Especially if he's sitting next to
There we
you
go.
and doing it to the person on the other side of you. They'll know exactly what's going
brother.
on.
Yeah.
It was
The
your brother
person
at school,
on the
wasn't
other
it?
side
That
of
was
me will be my dad. Yeah.
yeah.
Got
Yeah,
that.
because your dad's Sonia's dad?
My dad is Sonia's dad.
That's a confusing sentence.
Rest in peace,
You don't normally say
Sonia.
that.
Yeah. My dad is my dad and Sonia's dad. He's been on the show a few times as different characters, but the latest one was in 2016, I think, and he played Sonia's dad, and he was a dodgy person.
And you want your
I think
brother to
he
follow
tried
his
to
footsteps.
steal Nell. Yeah, I think he tried to steal Nell because she was like the same blood type as his daughter or something. I don't know, something really weird. I didn't watch all of it,
It was too much.
but yeah, he played a bit of a dodgy person. I think he had an affair with Therese as well, so that's cool. And so he was on the show.
You all three of you have to be on the
Mum
show
was,
at the same time, and with your mum as well. 4 of you should be on the show.
and mum was on the show like in 2004 or something, and he was Carl or Susan's divorce lawyer when they were getting divorced the first time.
Yeah, one of them.
Or the second time, I can't remember. And she was a divorce lawyer, and that's pretty cool. I think we should all come back to the show together as those characters and have a little crossover.
About a drug deal. Well, you got the lawyer. You've got like
About
the
the
head drug deal guy, and then
We've got the
and then your
dodgy
brother can be
guy.
like
My brother's gonna
the one
play-
that gets grabbed on the
Yeah.
street. You know, like
Yeah. And then Mackenzie will be there as like the good girl
who
Buster.
was sitting in
Buster.
between the two of them giving the drug deal and got mixed up in it somehow.
got caught up in a. There we go. We've just written a great storyline for Neighbours.
Look at that, Jason. If you're
We should
listening,
pitch this.
who's our EP for everyone at home?
Jason, if you're listening,
You're
do that, and then David can be involved.
I test for the drugs. I'm the drug tester. That's my.
Yeah. Maybe they sell the drugs to you and you get addicted.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't know why we're like that. Yeah.
You want that? You want drug addicted? I think drug
addicted.
addicted David could be fun. Although I feel like that puts a lot of other stuff at jeopardy. Which drama.
Drama. Gotta love the drama. We need the drama.
So have you and your brother always? Were you one of those? Or were you both those kids that put on performances for family and whoever?
Yes, we were. We when we were really young, we used to do these home videos, and we would make little movies. And so that was really fun. Our childhood was made up of us, you know, making stories, telling stories, playing very weird characters.
What's an example of these
And
weird
yeah, and I think
characters?
we did a short film where I played his mother and his sister. As the mother, I had a wig,
yeah.
and Harry played
Classic
a
Neighbours storyline.
superhero
It sounds like.
called Classic Neighbours. I'm the mother and no,
I'm
I'm not
sure
even gonna go there.
that's probably happened at some point.
Happened some kind of incestuous. It wasn't that we were 5 years old of Tar, and he came out and he damaged his eye, and so then he had to wear an eye patch.
Ooh.
And thus Super Arno was born. And
What was the Arno stand
he
for?
flew around. Arno. Oh, I think that was just his name. I think Harry just was great at coming up with weird names.
Awesome.
Super Arno, and he illustrated a comic book to go alongside it, and we got Dad to write a song for the soundtrack.
Amazing.
And yeah, so it was.
So do you still have this video somewhere? Then
do.
You definitely have
We
to put it
do.
up because everyone needs to see Super Arno with the eye patch.
Need to see Super Arno. Yeah.
So what was your role
I
in this
think they would love
opposite
that.
Super Arno? Apart, or his mother?
I played the mother and I had a wig, and then I played the sister as well because later the sister got in some kind of trouble, and Super Arno flew in and saved her.
They weren't actually the same person. It was just you playing both of those people.
I was playing two different people. One of them I had my normal hair, the other one I had a wig. So transformative actress even at 5 years old.
That's range. That's range. Mother and sister, and to pull them off as two completely different people with a different wig. That's
yeah. It was a prodigy. I was incredible. Yeah. And they called him the actor of the family. Like, come on now.
It was all about the subtlety, the nuance in performance was.
The nuance, yeah. How that wig was on my head, and how the other time there was no wig.
Well, I definitely You definitely have to post this somewhere because I.
Gonna have to post that somewhere. And then there was another one where he was Buzz Lightyear.
Nice.
And I was the sidekick.
There seems to be who was coming up with these storylines because it feels like they're very much in his favor. Yeah.
I think Harry was. It's because we had two different Buzz Lightyear costumes, and we were like, we need to use this. So that's how that worked. And I think our dog was in one of them and played like an alien.
And you were both playing Buzz Lightyears?
He was Buzz Lightyear, and I was the female version of Buzz Lightyear. I think her name was Miranova or something.
Great name.
And really good name. And I think that's how that. Oh, I just remembered another one. Swan Lake. I was the lead, and we got our dog and got a party hat and put it on her head.
Cute.
And so she was a unicorn. And so we had a unicorn. And that was a lot of fun. And I did my ballet dancing. I was jumping around, doing ballet things.
Did you do ballet growing up a lot?
Yeah, I did. I loved dancing. Absolutely loved dancing. Did ballet. I did tap.
I always wanted to do tap.
And tap is so much fun. So much.
Do you know who's
fun.
really good at tap? Ben Nicholas.
Oh.
Which is surprising, right? But yeah, he was like a freak tap dancer.
Brilliant.
I think I saw I've seen him do one video with it. But yeah, as far as I read somewhere or something that he's like a freaky tap dancer, which is kind of
great. Cool. When Paul Mercurio came in to be a guest star last year, because he was playing my dad on this just an incredible dancer. Who's in Strictly Ballroom, and he was just amazing. And he did tap, so I thought I'd kind of showcase some of my skills to him as we were waiting for our cue at Harold's, and I did it, and he wasn't impressed, and that made me feel really sad because I knew one or two good tap moves, and I showed it to him, and he was like, "Oh, well, you've done acting. That's nice." Like,
I wonder how many people, because of Strictly Ballroom, came up and like have just started dancing in front of him. He's been like,
in front of him,
okay.
probably hate it. Just come up to him, going, "Hey, I can dance."
Oh,
Well, that was me. He didn't. No,
have you?
he's so lovely though.
He is. He's a super lovely guy. I've only got to really chat to him in the green room, but yeah, really really nice, really open and friendly.
A train, and I could see out of the corner of my eye this woman was looking at me, and I was like, okay, and she kept looking at me at the whole time, and then she came up to me and said, "I know you from somewhere, but I don't know where I know you." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And then her friend was like, "No, silly, she's on Neighbours." And then the woman was like, "Oh, oh, oh, I'm so sorry. I should have." And she kept going on, bless her soul, for a long, long time about how she's really good with faces. But just this one time, and I was like, "It's okay. It's all right. You don't have, I'm not offended." And she just kept going on
Plowing
and on
on
and on about how embarrassed she was. And she was really sweet, but it was a very long conversation
about how embarrassed she was that she didn't
about how
realize who you
embarrassed
were.
she was. Yeah. Um, and so that was probably one of the more uncomfortable ones, just because I felt like in the end I had to comfort her about
Her not recognizing
how,
you.
yeah, and it was a bit, and I was like, "Sorry, this is my stop. I have to go." And she held my hand like, "No, I'm sorry."
Oh
I
wow.
was like, "I need to go."
Maybe that's what she does. Maybe that's when she sees celebrities. Maybe she like stalks celebrities
She
and then
holds her there.
pretends like she doesn't recognize them,
Oh,
and
so
then her
she
whole
can.
spiel is about like, I'm sorry, and then feeling embarrassed and
I'm sorry, and then long conversation. Yeah, maybe that's how she.
suckered you in. You fell straight for it.
Yeah. How about you? Have you had any interesting fan encounters?
There was one fun one of I was walking with a friend of mine, and these two people were not running, but they were like faster than walking the other direction.
Oh,
And then one of the guys yelled out, "Oh, hey, how you going?" And might have said David or something. I can't really remember. And then kept going. And then I turned to the person I was with and said, "Yeah, that happens sometimes now." And this was about I'd only been maybe on broadcast a few months or something, maybe 6 months or something. And
yeah.
and they were like, "Yeah, sure," thinking that it was just some random person or whatever. And then the dude runs back and goes, "I'm so sorry, but my girlfriend would kill me if I didn't get a photo with you. Can I get a photo?" And so she had to take a photo of us. And I was like,
Cute. Oh, that's funny.
it was one of those moments. Good. Well, it was one of the first moments I went, "Yeah, it's really cool." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
was fun.
I mean, it's so weird when that starts to happen a little bit, and you've never really kind of encountered that before. You've never really like dealt with that before, and it's kind of odd when that starts to happen, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, how do you?
There was one person I remember.
You there?
Sorry, I froze for a second. I was like, "Oh, no, cool." Um, there was one person, I think, a cab driver, I can't remember, who was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm an actor." And he's like, "Oh, well, what have you been in?" I said, I'm in Neighbours." And he was like, "Oh, I watch Home and Away myself. I'm not really a Neighbours fan." And then kept going on about how much he loved Home and Away, which was look, I learned a lot about Home and Away in that cab drive. So I think it was a good experience. But it's sometimes I find it kind of like the dynamic between Neighbours and Home and Away, and that kind of the fan bases, and how in Australia there is like a real kind of divide between whether you watch Neighbours and Home and Away. It's like a defining quality.
Which is weird because
I
they're
find
not
really
on
interesting.
at the same time. So it's not
No.
really it's like comparing any two dramas that aren't on the same day as each other as if
Yeah.
they're direct rivals. And it's like, well, they're not really. I mean,
They're not really.
yeah.
They're not really rivals.
You can
but,
watch both. It's really possible. It's like,
yeah,
it's completely
it
set up that
is.
you can do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I suppose it's interesting how like it's like if you have like smooth peanut butter or crunchy peanut butter, or if you have this kind of like Coke or Pepsi and stuff like that, and now Neighbours and Home and Away have
You
both.
know.
Yes, you can do
Although if you
both.
put crunchy
Um,
and smooth peanut butter together, it's really just crunchy peanut butter.
have you done that before?
No, I've never done
I've never
that.
done
But
that before.
are there any spreads that you mix together that people might find weird?
I once, my brother always did peanut butter and jam, because I think he wanted to be like an
Yeah.
American. So I did that once, and that's pretty good.
Is it right? Is it?
I usually don't go to that much of an effort at breakfast
Still
time.
one
I'm too
on.
tired.
That's good enough.
I just
What's your go-to spread then?
just
What's your favorite? Is it peanut butter? You used to talk about peanut butter a lot. So.
peanut
Yeah.
butter. Yeah,
Peanut butter is good.
with peanut butter.
Peanut butter's good.
Yeah, or like strawberry jam.
Ooh.
Very nice.
See, I did one of these once when I was slightly under the influence. I was at a friend's place and they had like brioche buns. Got a brioche bun, buttered it, strawberry jam, scoop of vanilla ice cream sandwich.
Oh,
Like now, most people go, "Oh, what?" But try it. It's quite
that's
good.
nice. That sounds like scones with jam and cream.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah,
It's yummy.
definitely. It's
My brother, when he was young, I've got so many stories about my brother. He put on marshmallows and tomato sauce on
oh.
toast, and I
Did
have
he
no idea
vomit?
what he was. No, no. I think he just wanted to do something that would weird me out, and it worked.
Which is why you think he's a drug dealer.
It
That's
was weird.
that's
Yeah, which is why I get drunk.
and that's how you get red
vibes
beards.
from.
You eat marshmallows
Yeah,
and
that's
tomato
how his
sauce.
beard got red.
It's actually he just hasn't
Yeah.
cleaned it. It is tomato sauce. It's that's all it is.
It's actually just tomato sauce in his beard. Doesn't surprise me. He loves tomato sauce.
All right. When was the getting back to a bit about you growing up? We've taken some real tangents here.
Yeah, we have.
Did you? What was your first stage show that you did in front of people?
Oh, I like first. Oh, maybe my school production. In year 7 in high school, we did Guys and
Oh,
Dolls.
nice.
Um,
Can you sing?
and I do love singing. Yeah, really love it. I originally wanted to be a singer-songwriter when I grew up. So I was really passionate about that. I'd always perform at assemblies. But yeah, I was in the ensemble, played a very religious
Oh,
person,
yeah.
in Guys and Dolls. And so that was a lot of fun. I always loved doing musicals. I love musical theatre so much. And yeah, I think that was the first time doing it. A lot of fun.
We totally have
A
to
lot of
do
fun.
a musical episode on Neighbours.
I keep saying that. I keep talking to the producers about doing a musical episode. And I'm always giving them ideas on how it could work.
Imagine if Endgame was
Um,
a musical, so that all the same stuff happened, but it was all a musical. That would have been amazing.
Oh, so good. Imagine Finn running through the forest with his bow and arrow singing. I mean, because Rob is an
Yeah,
incredible
I'm hunting.
singer. He's
I'm
kind
hunting.
of amazing.
I'm hunting.
Yeah, I am hunting Gary.
You can escape
Rest in
me.
peace.
Man, that would be. And then you got because you'd have B singing out of the
Yeah, singing for
mine
help.
thing, and coming
And
this
Gemma's a
overture.
good singer
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
man,
Oh, wonderful.
that'd have been so cool.
That'd be so good.
Well,
Do you sing?
I can sing, yes. But I discovered that because I auditioned for a couple of professional musicals after I left school. I did a lot of singing at school, a lot of choir, private lessons, and all that kind of stuff, musicals. And then leaving school, it just was never really part of my dream to be on a musical stage. And I auditioned for a couple of things, and then I did relatively well. I didn't get cast, but I realized that if I was going to do a musical, I'd want to be playing a lead. I didn't really have the heart or the passion for it to spend going and doing a whole bunch of community musicals, which you kind of need to do to build up, your abilities and just your repertoire that then they can look at. But also then once you do start to get into professional productions, working the ensemble, and they're long contracts and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I wouldn't want to spend a year, 2 years doing that. I would do a singing role if it came up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's why I think they need to do a Neighbours musical episode. Just like one episode where they randomly break out into songs
Be so good.
in the middle of the cafe. It'd be so fun.
Yeah. Especially.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah. I think everyone would dig it. I think everyone would dig it. Because most people have a voice, and the ones that don't, there's other things you can do within that. Just rapping and like
absolutely. Yeah, or speak singing. Or just clicking.
Clicking's good.
If they want. Good. It'd be great.
So when did you move from wanting to dance to, well, you still may want to dance, but when did acting become more of a thing that you wanted to pursue?
I've always loved it, but around when I was 15, I damaged my voice, kind of badly, and
How did you do that?
It just became, it was a mixture between like over singing, and I didn't use a lot of like technique. Often I'd belt without like warming up properly, and then I got this really bad, I got really sick, and I tried to sing through it, which you're not supposed to do. And then I also went through, during that time, there was a lot of stuff, like family stuff happening, and I was really anxious, and I developed a bit of anxiety, and all of that kind of put pressure on the vocal cords. And when I'd sing, they'd rub together, and it kind of inflamed the area. So then I got too anxious to keep singing. It just wasn't good for me and my mental health. And so I was like, I need something that I could channel my creative energy and passions. And my parents said, how about you go to drama class? And I was like, okay. So I started doing drama classes. I went to 16th Street Actors Studio, which is a really great actors studio in Melbourne. And I loved it. I really loved it. I did it with my brother. And
was he already doing it, or?
He wasn't doing drama classes, but he already was really passionate about acting and really loved acting. So we did it together, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. We had so much fun doing it, and I got this real respect for acting. And I really loved it. And so that's when I started thinking, oh, maybe acting is something I could do, because I never thought I was very good at it. But then I decided that doesn't matter. I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. And the main thing was that I really enjoyed it. And so then I finished doing drama classes at 16th Street. I was going into year 12 at school. And I had been doing a lot of advocacy work for trans rights before then. I had just won Victorian Young Australian of the Year, so I was feeling like I had a few opportunities and paths that I could go down. And we were doing all these like career counselling meetings early in year 12, and a lot of the teachers were saying you should do this, or you should go into law, or you should study arts in Melbourne and stuff like that. And it was just kind of like freaking me out a little bit. Like I felt like there were all these expectations for me to go down a specific path, and I didn't really want to do that. So I, in a kind of moment of defiance, in the middle of a free period at school, I was like, I'm gonna just throw everything else away, and I'm gonna do acting because that's what I love. And so I emailed the executive producer of Neighbours, and pretty much pitched a character, a trans character, because there are pretty much no trans characters on Australian TV at all, and there weren't going to be, I was going to have to kind of make the opportunity myself. And so
Did anyone know
emailed,
that you were sending this email?
I'm going to write a letter. And I think my dad was like, okay, go for it.
Why
All
not?
right, that's, sure. And yeah, so I wrote a letter and I said, I think it's important we have a trans character. I think Neighbours is a really good medium for it because it's a storytelling medium and it has a very faithful audience. And this is my idea for the character. This is my idea for the storyline. I hope you're interested. And I sent it off, not really expecting I'd get a reply. I just thought it'd be good to do it. And I got an email back 2 hours later from Jason saying, this is a really good idea. Thank you for emailing us. We'll bring you in for an audition. So it happened. And I was completely over the moon. And yeah, so I did a general audition. I think I read a script for the character of Piper.
Oh, yep.
Like an old Piper script. So I did that, and I didn't hear anything for a few months. And then I got an email again saying, "Are you still interested?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then by the end of year, an email telling me to come in and have a meeting with Jason. And I did, and he's so lovely. Isn't he so lovely? He's just the nicest, loveliest, kindest man.
Absolutely.
And yeah, he said, we love the idea. The writers have different storyline, because I think in my pitch it's related to, because one of my friends
You broke
was
up a bit there, by the way.
Paul Robinson fan, so I was like, I'm gonna do that. Sorry. Oh yeah.
You just broke up a bit
Am I
there,
back?
so I think it's getting.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so he's called you in the room, and then you've which I think it's coming back now. Sorry for everyone who's sorry, just dropped out for everyone. But it's saying it's good now. So you're in the room with Jason. He's telling you that the script has come up with a different storyline.
Yeah. So they've come up with a different storyline, and they've decided to take a lot of what I initially pitched and then kind of weave it into the Rebecca family a bit more, instead of Paul Robinson, because they already had a character of Harlow who I didn't know of yet. And yeah, and then I had a meeting with the writers, and I got to work with them on the story, to make Mackenzie kind of respectful and real, and yeah, and then it's happened, and it's been incredible. Yeah.
Which is definitely a way to get on the show, really. Which is a rare way to get onto the show. I don't advise everyone emailing Jason now. Because he'll get a flood of emails now going, so I've got an idea for a character. I think you're going to love it. So there's a drug dealer, right? And he goes and sits next to people and deals drugs over the top of them. What do we reckon?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm going to pitch next.
Yeah.
That's
Harry
the
Redbeard.
Harry the drug dealer.
Drug dealer, yeah.
And he's also a pirate.
So your parents obviously are actors as well. Did you grow up going on to sets and backstage and that kind of stuff?
Not as much as I would have liked. I always kind of like rallied to go onto set or go into the rehearsal room. I do remember going, because my parents mostly did theatre, so I do remember going onto stage and like looking at the set and watching them doing stage. It was just really cool, and it was really exciting and inspiring to watch. But they would often try and kind of shield Harry and I from the industry a bit, because it is a very complicated industry, and it's not always a good place to. I remember really wanting to do acting when I was really young, and my parents saying no, because it is a very cutthroat world, I suppose, ish. So, but I loved watching them on stage and everything. It was awesome and exciting, I think, for Harry and I to see.
Yeah. Have you had any other inspirations or mentors in the acting world outside of them, or have they been sort of the main voice in since doing the show and
A
that
lot
kind of
of
stuff?
a lot of mum and dad's friends are actors or writers or directors, so a lot of the people we were surrounded were creative people, which I really loved. So I definitely looked up to a lot of their friends, because they would kind of encourage us to be creative when we were young, and they'd encourage us to, if we had an idea, to make it happen and to create it ourselves. So I really looked up to my parents and their friends in that way. I remember when I was young, I don't know why, I thought that I was friends with Emma Watson, because I watched her a lot on TV. So I was like, yeah, she's a friend. And I looked up to her a lot, because I just thought she was incredible, and I thought what she did and represented was really incredible. And I thought we were really good friends, but apparently we're not. She doesn't follow me on Instagram, so
Yet.
it's not
Not
happening.
yet.
Yes.
Not yet.
I don't think she follows anyone on Instagram. Oh, I don't know. Yes. I'll meet her one day. I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
I
Send her an
actually
email.
wrote I actually wrote Daniel Radcliffe a letter when I was really young. I seem to write everyone letters.
What was this email about?
Uh, I think I was like, I'm in love with you. However, I realize that the age difference is a bit of a barrier and it's not going to work. I'm only 7, you're 18. So instead, you have to go out with Emma Watson.
Oh, right. So you were in the camp that Hermione and Harry should have been together.
I was. I am still. Um, and I got a reply from Daniel, but I think it was from his publicist. Um, and it was like a signed photograph of him and like a list of his acting credits or something. But I loved it.
That's still awesome, though. It's amazing you
Yeah,
got a response. So
yeah,
how
yeah.
cool.
Big fan.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, I do. I still have. I think. Do I have it in this desk? Oh no, maybe in my other desk. I've still got the letter and the photograph. I think I've like written all over it now. I don't know why.
Is it like a love note to him?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of love hearts around his head. I'm not a crazy person. I know it sounds like it. I was just very young and passionate.
Nothing wrong
but
with
I
that.
loved him a lot. Yeah. I love you, Dad, but we can't be together. We're too old for me. Yeah. Always writing people letters.
Yeah. Hey, look,
It's just how I roll.
it's a good thing to do. Not enough people write letters because everyone likes getting letters now. Like if you get a letter that's
Yeah.
not a bill or something, because that's basically all the letters anyone ever gets. So if you get a letter
Yeah.
that's actually written to you as like a letter, not a bill, then it's like it's super exciting. Like, oh my
It's
God,
great
a
when it's
letter.
not a bill. Yeah.
Uh,
No, it is. It's lovely.
so what was your first day on set like for Neighbours?
It was exciting and nerve-wracking. I was shaking. I remember being in the makeup chair and I was shaking, and the makeup artist, her name is Ricky, and she's lovely, and she was like, "It's all right. Don't be scared." And I think I was like hyperventilating a little bit.
Ricky's probably one of the
But
best people
it
to have.
mind off it a little bit. Um, but she was lovely. It was great. I think my first scene was supposed to be with Olivia and with Lockie, who plays Richie, and Olivia, who plays Yashvi, but Olivia was sick. So that scene was cut like about an hour before it was supposed to happen. So in the end, it was one scene at night, like quite late at night. It was in the middle of winter, and it was with Nick and Ben, play Shane and Ned. And that was really nice. And it was pretty much, I didn't talk in the scene. It was pretty much me like peering out from behind a bush and looking at Shane like I'm about to talk to him and then walking away.
That's like the best way to start, though. Just
It
to
was the
go,
best way to start.
okay, I've been on set. I've done that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, absolutely. But when you look at the scene, my eyes are really wide. I'm just like peering behind the bush, like, and it looks really weird. My God, so I just see myself there. My face has gone really red. I don't know why.
You look okay from this side. Might be.
You look
Yeah.
okay? Yeah, maybe it's just me. I think I just look really red.
It's because we're
Anyway.
talking about Daniel Radcliffe and all those feelings came
And
flooding back.
I blushed a little bit. Yeah, I still love you, Dan. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, talk to me about your experience on Neighbours and how you found coming onto it, because it's such a fast show to shoot for your first
It is.
big thing to be doing. Has it been
Yeah.
easy to adapt to?
It's a great show to learn from, because I've never done any professional acting before Neighbours. So being on the show definitely was an eye experience, and it was definitely difficult to begin with. But just the cast were just so incredible and welcoming, and the crew really patient and willing to kind of help walk you through it and educate you. It was just a really amazing experience. Really, really loved it. And because I was originally only supposed to be on for 6 weeks, but I was really grateful when they wanted me to stay longer, and then eventually stay forever, full time.
Forever. Oh, you've announced it.
Forever.
It's forever.
My contract goes on unlimited. You know, I can't get out of it.
Yeah.
No, it's been really amazing. And yeah, and I mean, I love the character so much. So it's just been a great experience. And
What was it
a
like
lot of
when you saw Mackenzie arrive on screen?
I was again freaking out a little bit, hyperventilating a little bit, but it was fun. It was a really cool experience. And what took me aback the most was how lovely the fan base is. I got some really, really lovely messages from people, and some really, the response to the character and the storyline has been really nice for the most part. And yeah, that really, I don't know really what I was expecting. I think I was expecting more hate, I suppose. But it was actually a really, really lovely response to the character. So I was really happy. It was just a great experience.
Yeah, it's.
How about you? Because I know that you were involved in like the first same-sex marriage on Australian television, I think, which was incredible. What was that like?
That was actually filming that. I was really sick, and if it wasn't such a special
really?
event, filming day, or a couple of days, I probably would have just called in and said, I'm too sick to be doing this, because that day was intense as well, because we were shooting all day outside. We had media there as well, so we would be filming a take. They'd call cut. We'd walk me and Matt would walk to the side, do an interview. They'd go, we're ready again, because they're reset cameras or whatever. We'd walk back onto set, do another take, and they'd call cut, and then we have to go back and do another interview. And so that was super intense. And I had been told in my initial story meeting when I started that the goal for David and Aaron was to get them married. And that would have been 2.5 years, foster a relationship that people would be barracking for, and one that they would, if we were going to get it to the place where they could get married, that the obvious love between them and the connection that they had would be so powerful that people would go, well, you can't. It's hard to argue against the fact that they should be married, and the fact that it coincided with the plebiscite and same-sex marriage being legalized, I'm not actually sure what would have happened if that plebiscite went a different way, because it was sort of set that that was where we're going. So I don't know how they were going to handle it, and whether, I don't know what the plan was, whether they're setting up, we'd go overseas and actually get married, but otherwise still not be recognized and raise those issues, which would have been a good story as well to be telling. But it was pretty amazing for both of us, and we both felt pretty honored. I especially did, to be a part of that, because it's a history making moment.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
Magda was there as well.
yeah, which is so cool.
How awesome.
Like, if you were going to make like the first same-sex wedding marriage on screen, who would you celebrant be? Magda is like the obvious answer.
Yeah.
So yeah. Although I would have loved it if they did like Susan and what was Magda's name on the show? I've forgotten. But Jackie and Magda at the same time, and so then. But anyway, that's a different thing.
That would be lovely.
Because then it would have been like Susan trying to be really Susan, and then Magda like screwing it up, rather than she screwing it up and Susan reacting for the audience. I thought that could be kind of cool, because then it would have mirrored the two aisles, and it would have been, anyway. I had a whole thing in my head.
They should have listened to you. And why don't you write the show?
Yeah.
Honestly.
So it
was lovely.
Yeah, it was a really, really special thing to be a part of. And I think Neighbours needs to be applauded a bit more than it has been, really, in like, it's not like, it just doesn't get mentioned how hard it's worked at increasing its diversity and representation, because it truly is super important to the world, that representation's here, because there's kids growing up who either have diverse backgrounds or questioning their sexuality or whatever those things are, who need to feel like they're part of the normal of society, that they're not on the outside, that that there is someone out there who's having a similar experience to them, and then also have seen ways that other people have dealt with it, whether that be in real life or in a fictional world like Erinsborough. Because that representation is so important.
It is. It really is. And what I loved was, while my storyline was happening, and young people, a lot of trans young people saying, I've never connected to a character on TV before like I have with Mackenzie, and seeing the storyline and seeing how the people around her would react and learn from her was a great catalyst for conversations with my own family. And I've been able to educate my own mom and dad through this storyline on Neighbours. And so we can't underestimate the impact a show like Neighbours can have. And I think it's really, really wonderful that Neighbours is determined and passionate about telling stories, these kind of stories that aren't often given the time to be told on other shows. So I think it's really great, and I think it's a really effective way of teaching people and allowing people to feel seen on TV, which is and in the stories that we are given. So I think it's wonderful what Neighbours is doing, and I'm really proud that I can be a part of it.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you feel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And those messages that you do get are what really makes it all worth it, like besides, we get paid for what we do, and obviously there's that in a way connects to somebody else and helps them in their daily life. I mean, that's the coolest thing ever. And I love getting those kinds of messages from people. You're just cutting out a bit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We got it there. Yeah, we got the absolutely. So that's all right.
We got good.
So Neighbours has started in Australia. So let's do some quick fire questions. Unless is there anything else you wanted to bring up at all before we cut to, well, not cut to, because there's no cuts really, but before we go to the questions in the chat.
no, I don't think so.
Well,
I
that's
don't
good
I
then.
don't think so.
Uh,
Cool.
Here's an interesting one from the Walrus. You're always here, man. I think you're always here. If Neighbours got cancelled tomorrow, would you still be in acting or pursue another career?
Oh, oh. Um, I think I would still um be in acting. First, I would cry a lot because I don't want Neighbours to be cancelled. Um, but no, I think I'd still act. I'd have to because I did actually recently drop out of my university course, so I think I need to keep going. I've gone too far in to go back now, and I love it a lot. Um, but no, Neighbours is still going to keep going, thank God. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
what of course you're staying on Neighbours forever, but what sort of roles do you want to play in the future?
forever and ever. Oh, I wanna, I want to do a lot. I want to keep playing trans roles, but I also want to play roles that either aren't trans or it's not really,
Yeah.
discussed what gender identity they have. I don't know, I'd love to do some action films. That just looks like it'd be so much fun. Like I was really jealous of everyone in Fire Island who are doing all these stunts in Neighbours. Like I really want to do that, and I our EP Jason, I keep saying I want to do some crazy storylines. Like I want to do something, actiony or thriller. Um, yeah, I'd love to do that um, more of that kind of stuff, and drama and comedy and everything. I'll do
It's
it
such a
all.
classic actor answer. It's like I want to do this and this and this and this and this and this, and you basically it's describing every
Yeah,
human experience because that's kind of
yeah,
why we do acting because we want to explore human experience from everybody
yeah.
else's perspective as well as our own. Um,
Absolutely. Do some villain. Oh, that's something I want to play villain.
nice.
Or a very morally ambiguous role. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, but and the key to that's always about making the audience still like you, which Stefan Dennis
Yeah,
does very well.
yeah, yes. Oh, he does.
Uh, are you a good cook? And if so, what's your favorite recipes or meals?
Oh, um, I'm an okay cook. I'm not like a brilliant cook. But I do like it. What's my favorite recipe? Probably like spaghetti bolognese or something. Just something kind of simple but
Yeah, everyone
delicious
always loves
and
it. Like, if you
yummy.
don't like spaghetti bolognese out there,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Just do better.
yeah, do get new taste buds. It's not good enough. Now,
Lift
I'm
your
not sure what
game.
this is in reference to because I haven't seen it. I don't know what it is. Did you get to see Australian Realness?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a show my dad was in last
Oh,
year. At Malthouse, I think. I did see Australian Realness twice. Um, and it was a weird show. It was very weird. Um, it like it was great. It was great. But it like goes through all these different genres in one show, and it starts off as this like very kind of normal Australian family, and then it turns into a sitcom, and everything they say has this laugh track,
wow.
and then it turns into this like weird abstract show. It was bonkers, but it was great. And I took my friend Grace, who plays Alicia, which is the best reaction. Um, so yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Amazing. I wish I saw that now.
I'm proud of my
Um,
dad.
as as you should be, as everyone should be able to be. Um, Ness Hill asks, Georgie, a family member of mine is transgender, going male to female. He is not ready to tell some of his family. Do you have any advice on how we can support her?
Um, my advice is to be mindful of
Yeah.
pronouns. Definitely ask the pronouns that this person connects with and wants, and just always be open and listen and let that person know that you were there for them and will support them. That don't underestimate how powerful and lovely that is to hear your friends say that you're there for them. Yeah, and thanks for reaching out. And I hope
Yeah,
everyone's okay.
and that's good advice. Just reach out to all your friends anyway, especially right now. Especially the one, well, just anyone, but it's people who are on their own at the moment. We definitely need to, and people with kids too, who you think were just are too busy. They're dealing probably with a lot right now. So I would say reach out to them, give them some friend time away from the kids when they can, because I know that would probably mean more to them than, even though they seem and are very busy, I'm sure even just reaching out to say, do you want to have a call later or whatever, will be very appreciated on their end. Looking for more question. Make sure you put question marks at the end of your questions, because it's easy for me to find them if they've got question marks. If you could play, if you know, this is one of the standard Neighbours fans questions, but thank you for asking, Jeanette Curran. If you could play any other character in Neighbours, who would you play and why?
David.
Oh, why is that? Why? Do you think I'm not doing well enough?
I love David because because look, I watched you and I think you can do that.
You broke up then, so I missed your answer too.
No,
I reckon it was funny.
and I love his relationship with Aaron. I heard a thing in my ear, and I thought I had headphones. My brother's headphones. I'm not sure if.
Well, you've frozen a bit. Oh no, now you're coming back. Sorry, everyone at home. We're doing our best. Everyone's logging onto the internet at the moment, I think,
Okay.
when they're getting home, so the internet's congesting. So you'd play David.
Yeah. or I would play Chloe, because look, a really fun role to play, and April's putting in all these kind of like improvised funny moments, and I think that's really cool. And it's different to Mackenzie because she's really serious all the time.
Yeah, April does a really good job at playing Chloe, and she does put in some of her own little lines or changes little references, and some of those things, because her character's written in a very specific way, and some of those things I look at and go, man, that's a hard line to pull off. But April has built a character that can really say anything, and it works. She's done a very good job. Good old April.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and her reactions.
Yeah. It's getting quite jumpy now, so I'm not sure whether we should keep trying to answer more questions or not. I'm not sure what. Am I jumping to you as well, or is it just you to me at the moment?
Yeah, you're becoming very pixelated.
It's always hard to know what's at fault there. Well, wait, let me just see if there's one good more answer, and we'll see if we can get through it. And one more good question. I think we've established that we watched the show before. The production side of
Who would
things.
you want to be? Oh, what I'd love to direct. I'd love to direct. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, probably direct. It's something I do.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to say thank you to, because the internet's just started to go on a path of glitchy greatness. So thank you, Georgie. So sort of a bad way to end, but thank you for coming on. It's been such a good chat. You are an exceptional person, and I'm so glad that I've had the opportunity to meet you and work with you and have some good times with you and do takTalks with you. So thank you for coming on. And I'm assuming she's
Thank you.
saying...
Thank you very, very much for having me.
And you may have just heard her say thank you, I think, in the background there, with her picture frozen on screen, which again is the nature of what isolation is doing. I can't talk to people in person, so doing it this way is the best that we can kind of do of the situation. And most of that was in a pretty good connection, I think. I hope, and I hope you stuck through it. Thank you. Please subscribe on the button wherever it is, and like this if you liked what Georgie said. I think she said some fun stuff. I think we had a fun conversation. And now I get to announce tomorrow's guest, which I think you'll all be really excited for. And please check out my Instagram, because I am very happy with the Instagram poster that I made for this one. And please comment on it to tell me that you think it's funny too. But he is someone who's been on Neighbours and have been around Neighbours for quite a long time now. And he has progressed to the other side of the camera. His name is Scott Major, who I hope you can see in this thumbnail is both on the camera and directing at the same time. And that's the post that I'll have on Instagram in about 20 minutes or so, is of a similar vein. So he'll be joining me tomorrow, and we're going to have a really, really fun chat. He's a really interesting character and has done some incredible work and continues to do so. So if you're a fan of his directing as well, please check it out. And otherwise, I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night, stay safe, or day, or whatever it is. Bye!